Oh, if there's one thing I'm thankful to Dejpon for, it's the content he provides me with. Oh dear. We've got a lot to catch up on because the video I wanted to do last week didn't happen because I lost my voice. So this week we're doing basically a double video to discuss the fans forum, and then of course just a quick catch up on all the things as well that have gone off. The Danny Roll issue where he said he's going to come back now or he'll face a fine, even though he's not paid him, so I don't see how that works. We then have some newer subjects that have come up literally today, with the soft embargo becoming a hard embargo for 3 windows now, which we knew was coming, and also we now have Owls in the Park, which has been cancelled. Oh, and Milan Mandaric spoke last night. We've got to look into that as well. So yeah, let's get into it. So, just quickly, this is going to be something I'm going to start doing a lot more on this channel. On top of that, we're going to get my brother involved as well, potentially when he gets back from Sweden. He's currently away, but he says he wants to give it a try, so we're going to do a little thing together. But until he comes back, it's just going to stay with me still. So, for those of you who have been living under a rock, or this is the first time you've looked anywhere other than your own club, Sheffield Wednesday owner Dejpon Janziri, 2 months so far this year, has not paid the wages on time. It originally happened in March. That got scratched off within a week, so we were fine. I think it was actually less than a week. I think it was a few days. That got scratched off quickly. But now we got into the crossover between May and June. So it will have been the May wages. They weren't paid on time. He said he'd have it resolved within a few days again. We are now nearly 3 weeks into that period of him not paying up fully. And while now, in fairness, since the last episode that I did, some players have now been paid. All of the staff have been paid. There still remain some players unpaid at the club, which I think even, the released players that are still under contract for 1 more month. I think Paul Valentin, I saw, was one of them that hasn't actually been paid even in the window of the few players that have been paid. So I don't know what Chanziri's priorities are in terms of paying these wages. I don't know if it goes into the ones that have been released, the ones that have left. I don't know if they're going to be the ones that get paid, the last ones to be paid. I don't know what his thought process with that is, but we will we'll have to see with that. So yeah, anyway, if you want a little bit of a catch up over the whole situation with Chanziri since he took over at Wednesday, then there's videos all over. I touch on it a little bit in the last episode I've done on this particular subject. I also wore the same t-shirt, coincidentally. I promise you, I do wash my clothes and I do have other clothes. This is just a coincidence. So, yeah. We'll do it as chronologically as I can. Last week was the fans forum. Not a club called fans forum. This was more this was called by not the 1867 group. What's the other one? Why can't I think what the other one is? I'll have to fact check that one. 1 second. Supporters Trust. I literally remembered the second I stopped recording. So yeah, Supporters Trust called a fans forum last week. I didn't go myself personally. I did watch it on the Wednesday Till I Die podcast stream. And my brother himself went in person. It would have been great to have him here right now, but obviously, like I said, he is in Sweden working, so we can't do much about that one right now. but it would be nice to get his perspective on things. So yeah, basically, it got called and there was loads of different people speaking. One of the more interesting ones that I heard was from Simon, or 1867 News, you may know him as. One of the ones that I did find the most interesting was Simon when he spoke. He was claiming to be in touch with Chanziri and almost being like the middle ground between the Florida-based consortium and Dejphon Chanziri himself. Now, I'm not going to say whether I believe him or not in this, because at the end of the day, this is such a situation that you can't work out what is true and what isn't at this point in time. So I'm just going to go on the consensus that it's true and give my thoughts on the matter. So he basically said that at this point in time, Chanziri has agreed with the fan base. He does agree that he needs to move on, he needs to sell up, and he's willing to listen to offers, but it's a situation where now the gap between his valuation is still too far from the actual valuation. So I think he still wants over 100 million for the club, which isn't going to work, let's face it, because who wants to, now we are under that hard embargo in particular as well. Who's going to want to buy a football club in our current situation for over 100 mil? It doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to invest money to sort this absolute, well, I don't want to swear. I can't swear. What's a good word to describe it? Calamity. It's an absolute calamity, this football club at the moment. So I don't understand why anyone would want to buy the club for 100 mil plus when they have to invest all that money to try and sort out the club on its own. So, in my honest opinion, I still don't see a takeover being close to being agreed. Based on the fact that his valuation is still too high, he's rejected. I'm not sure if this is true. It came out the other week. He rejected a bid in the region of 160 mil. That's honestly crazy. Crazy behaviour. Because that is, I'm just going to refer to them lot down the road. They went for 111, I think it was. And that's a club, fighting for promotion, It doesn't make sense that he is basically killing a club off, but he won't accept 160 million for it. So that is something that we really, really, really need to be concerned about, is the idea of the money and where Chanziri thinks, oh, I want this much, when in reality, we shouldn't be getting more than that. There are so many ceilings we have to break through, or in Chanziri's case, he has to come down a few levels. So yeah, like I said, at this point in time, I don't see a takeover being anywhere near happening, because he's so unrealistic, and I don't see, he is a stubborn man. I don't see him moving at all. You get that idea of, okay, there's people who are now advising him to bring it down and meet them at that price that they are offering, because that is a very good price for this club at the moment. You've got Simon. If Milan, he's coming to England next week. We might as well just quickly move on to the Milan one. Milan is coming to England next week. He's going to try and get a conversation with Chanzeri. No one, by the way. This is something else I find interesting. Chanzeri has gone off the grid. He has gone missing. So, we really need to establish something here. Like, where is he? Why has he gone quiet? Why is he? Has he gone into hiding? Is he open to this conversation with Milan Mandaric? Again, for context, for those who don't know, the former Sheffield Wednesday owner, the man who sold the club to Chanzeri. Milan Saving Wednesday Part 2 is honestly written in the stars, though. As you know, saved us back in, was it 10 or 11 he bought us? I can't remember. Whichever year it was he bought us, he bloody got us out some really deep poop at that time. So, I say so a lot in these episodes. I do apologise. Yeah, like I said, takeover probably not even close to being agreed. So yeah, we'll move on to the Milan thing now, because we've already sort of spoken about it. He spoke on BBC Radio Sheffield last night. He still cares about this club, and you knew he would. You think back. I know it was ages ago. I know it was over 10 years ago now. But you think back to that speech of, I think it was before Cardiff, if I remember correctly. He came on pitch just before he stepped down, and he gave a speech to the fans. He said he'd always have our backs. He'd always support the club, and you didn't doubt it. He was a good man. He was a good man. So yeah, we are now in a situation where he is coming to England to try and sort something out with Chanzeri, but obviously with him being missing, the question is, how possible is this going to be? Is this going to be a case of Milan is only going to talk with a club representative who can then feed back to Chanzeri? If the Simon rumours are true, that he can talk to Chanzeri, does he speak to Simon and Simon give back to Chanzeri? I don't know. But we will have to see. Honestly, like I said, it's written in the stars for him to save us again. If he comes in, talks some sense into Chanzeri, and just, alright, he's probably never going to buy the club. It's not going to happen. He sold the club for a reason. He couldn't take us any further. But if he could pull some strings with Chanzeri and push that takeover through, we already owe him a lot as Wednesday fans. We wouldn't be here to be in this situation if it wasn't for him. So, you do have to say we're already indebted to him a little bit, but there is no way we can pay him back at all at this point if he can come and force that deal through. I hope it does, but again, he's a very stubborn man, is good old Dejbon, so we will have to wait and see. So, we move now to what happened earlier. There's been two new situations that we will talk about in a moment. I almost forgot. I know I said we're going in chronological order and then we jumped straight to the Mandaric, but we're jumping back quickly. Last week, Dejbon said or told Danny Rowell that he had to come back now for pre-season and end his holiday early. Now, I sort of would like to know what is going on with Danny. Is he staying? Is he going? I assume based on this he is staying for now. Obviously he's not getting another club. He did a little interview. He said that he's excited for next season wherever he is. So I'm hoping that means that he is now accepting that it's looking very unlikely he will be leaving. So we will have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Chanzeri's ordered him to come back now, or he'll face a fine, which I find pretty ironic, because Dejpon is not paying the guy. So it, honestly, at the time he said this as well. I think this was before as even the staff had been paid. So yeah, saying that he needs to come back or he'll fine him doesn't make sense to me. He's going to fine him last month's wages because you're not paying him next month or this month. Can guarantee that we will not pay wages next month. And he's telling Danny, come back now or you're getting fined. Oh dear. Yeah. Anyway, that's touched up on now. Brilliant. Move on. So, where was I? I just had to rush that section real quick because, yeah. So, with the current situation, you know, how the fans feel, today the decision was made to cancel Owls in the Park. I'm going to sit back a little bit, let's just correct the camera, there we go. Yeah, so today Owls in the Park did get cancelled, which is obviously due to the fact that everybody was going to protest that day. I don't see what cancelling this will do, if I'm honest, because I can still see the fans going down to protest. I really can. There is genuinely, it's free will, it's a public setting. There is no stopping them from doing it. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, Owls in the Park cancelled. It has obviously got some negative reaction because it's not even just about the protests. You know, cancel every game next season, play every game behind closed doors, because anyone who's dumb enough to turn up next season, there will be protests. You know, even without a ticket, I will go down next season and stand outside the ground and protest if I feel the need to do that, because it has gone beyond. You know, at this point, he's targeting kids. Kids will have enjoyed a nice day out next week. I think it was next weekend. They'd have loved the day out at Owls in the Park. That's now been taken away by Chanziri and the club and the local authorities because they don't want the protests to cause a dangerous environment. So, we've got on to cancelling public events because the protests are going to cause danger. Before he's realised he needs to sell the club, or at least before he's accepted a bid that is probably higher than we should be getting. I know I did my little thing over there earlier. That's what we should get for the club. That's probably how much we got. You know, the 70, 80 odd £1 million bid was probably up about there compared to where the price should be. Honestly. But yeah, Owls in the Park cancelled. Yeah, how could my day get worse? Oh yeah, that's how my day could get worse. The soft embargo is now a hard embargo because we missed the deadline to respond. The club has said they will appeal. I need to pull this up, but I'm recording on my phone. So that could become a bit of a problem. I'll be here 1 second. Okay, I'm going to have to hold it as well, so enjoy my beautiful face. So, the EFL can confirm that Sheffield Wednesday Football Club is now subject to a 3-window fee restriction after exceeding the 30-day late payments between the 1st of July and 30th of June. Woo! In accordance with the EFL regulations, the restriction will cover the... I'm reading sideways. I'm sorry this is really bad reading, but I'm reading sideways. But yeah, in accordance with the EFL regulations, the restriction will cover the entirety of this summer's window and two full windows thereafter, winter 26 and summer 26. The club has notified the EFL of its intentions to appeal this decision and will... Oh my God. The club has notified the EFL of its intentions to appeal this decision, and this will be heard in due course. Sorry, I'm reading sideways and then at all angles at the moment. So yeah, we intend to appeal is what I'm getting from that. I'm not reading anymore because it's too sideways. But yeah, the intention is that we will appeal it. So yeah, that's great. We're gonna appeal it. We shouldn't be here in the bleeding first place. My thoughts on this are, we are in trouble. It's not like one window, it's not two windows. I think we could have dealt with a year without transfers, but 18 months without transfers. You know, we are going to be potentially in League One because I really see a relegation season this year. Yeah, at this moment in time, we are potentially going to be in League One playing players that probably aren't even good enough for League Two. You know, you look at the players that are currently in the squad, how many are going to be out of contract this summer, coming up, next summer, technically. Basically in the next season, those out of contract. You know, there's quite a lot of first team players again. You know, some of the ones even that are under that have had their 1 year extensions triggered. I'm assuming if Bannon signs, that'll be a 1 year deal. So we've got so many players that could be leaving us next season that we can't realistically replace. So, no, you know, we are in a bit of trouble here. Quite a lot of trouble. Honestly, I can see us in League Two soon. I really can. I can really see us in League Two, which is absolutely insane. You know, a club of this stature being in League Two. You know, you looked at the other one. It was Oldham. You know, in the National League until last year. Pretty crazy. You know, probably one of the biggest clubs in League Two next year, and they've only just come up from National League again after being in the Premier League when it founded. So yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, the Wednesday. I think I'm gonna have to name this series the Wednesday Rant, because honestly, at this point, I just rant. So yeah, my opinions on this matter are we're in big trouble. Dejpon, he has to sell this apparent meeting that Mandrick has got with him. It really needs to be positive. It needs to be productive, because if it's not, we will either be a League Two football club this time next year, or no, never mind. This time in 2 years we'll be a League Two club, because we're still going to get relegated from Championship. Yeah, I think. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Trying to do maths on the spot, brilliant. Right, yeah, so yeah, we will be a League Two club pretty soon, or we won't be a club at all. I'm scared. I really am. I think I said this. I don't know if I said this last time. I think I might have done. I am very scared. You know, I know it's bad enough for me. 18 years of age, supported the club since I was born. Oh well, as long as I can remember, anyway. But people that I sit with and around, my dad in his 50s now. He's been a Wednesdayite a lot longer than I have, obviously. And it's just one of those that's very, very scary. It's one of those where this club could go under. On that somber note, that's it for this edition of the Wednesday Rant. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.